play right, cause they can't miss. All about the game, that's a cold switch. Serving up the truth, call it ruthless. Tune in and get your fix from Blake and Vish Sports.
Do you agree with Asante Samuel's comments on Bill Belichick? He is just another coach without Brady. Vish, you can go first on this one.
No, absolutely not. I mean, people bring up Bill Belichick. What did he do with the Browns? Oh, he just happened to be the last coach to make the playoffs with the Cleveland Browns since who? Till Kevin Stefanski made it last year. Yeah. Bill Belichick also had two of maybe the more underratedly super great defenses of all time. He coordinated in New York. And Bill Belichick just being another coach without Tom Brady, every great coach, they're a great coach in concert with a great quarterback. Great coach, great quarterback, that's the oldest formula in the NFL. If you have a great coach and a great quarterback, you're going to win a lot. If you have a medium coach and a great quarterback, you're still going to make the playoffs a lot. If you have a great coach and a great quarterback, you'll win Super Bowls. And even with a great coach and a great quarterback, it's not guaranteed. I mean, Ben and Mike Tomlin only won one.
Sean Payton
and Drew Brees only won one. So, like, all of those things aren't guaranteed. And then you look at the fact that, like, Tom Brady's contributions to the first Super Bowl, you're telling me Tom Brady was the reason that he threw for 148 yards in that game. He had a very clutch drive to take him down to the field, kick a field goal to win the game. But they held the greatest show on turf to 14 points in that 17 points, I think, actually, to that Super Bowl. And then, people really blame Belichick for the Eagles Super Bowl and Malcolm Butler doing all of that. I mean, Tom Brady in the greatest offense ever in 2007 scored how many points against the New York Giants? 17 or 14, excuse me.
Yeah.
I think there is a little bit of bias towards Brady, honestly, the media. And I think it's because Brady really he's perfect. He portrays himself perfectly. He really is flawless. I mean, he's really good at everything. And he is really the greatest quarterback of all time. I wouldn't debate it. But I mean, to act like Belichick is just another coach. I mean, Asante Samuel obviously knows more about that than me. So I would defer my knowledge to him. I'm just saying from my outsider opinion, to my knowledge, to me, it's both of them working in concert. And while Brady is all-time great, there's a lot of all-time great from Belichick that has little to do at times with Brady. Like coaching Malcolm Butler, tendencying that play, putting that heavy set goal line defense where Seattle was forced to tendency to their go-to play from goal line and all of that. And then intercepting that pass, like Brady had nothing to do with any of that.
He was motivating them on the sideline.
And then people talk about this Super Bowl, and I do think to an extent Brady deserves 100% of credit. Like what his Tampa Bay won before Brady got there. He certainly came in, changed that culture. Brady's one of maybe the greatest leader in all of sports. No doubt about it. The thing is that Tampa Bay team is stacked top to bottom. Brady did not play particularly well in the New Orleans game. Brady did not play particularly well in the Packers game. Brady threw 3 interceptions in the fourth quarter of that Packers game. Now, if you want to credit Brady because they ended up getting the win, absolutely, I agree. But at the same time, how many quarterbacks throw 3 interceptions in the fourth quarter of an NFC championship and still manage to win that game?
Probably
and if
not.
you want to say that Brady somehow did something different from those other quarterbacks with his interceptions, then God bless you, because you have to credit the Bucs defense for consistently coming up with stops after those interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't want to hate on Brady, right? He's the GOAT. Like, this sounds negative on Brady. It really shouldn't. He's the GOAT. He's outstanding. But let's not act like Belichick isn't as equally a big part of the entire success of the Patriots. It's both of them. And people want to write it off because the Patriots had a bad season. The Patriots had, again, I want to mention it again. I mentioned it earlier in the show when we were talking about Mac Jones, but Patriots had a ton of opt-outs last year. They had a terrible roster. They had no receivers. They had Cam Newton coming off a multitude of injuries who they signed halfway through the offseason, and they had no offseason with the new quarterback, and the record was 7-9. Other coaches, they had a better record. Yeah.
They did overachieve last year.
By a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you on this one. I know people bring up the Browns years, and then I don't know. I look at the Patriots body of framework, and obviously this is becoming, I guess, a more prevalent topic because Brady did win a Super Bowl his first year going away from the Patriots, and I don't think that him doing that just kind of proves that he was the main reason for winning, because the defense didn't allow a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Do you
And
mind? Do you mind really quick? I do
Yeah.
want to just draw one comparison real quick before, if you
Sure.
don't mind. So Jamal brought up the same thing right here in the comments, right? He said people need to let this breathe. You know what the exact analogy for this situation is? When Kobe and Shaq broke up in 2004, and then Shaq immediately went and won with the Heat in 2006, and Dwayne Wade had one of the most historic finals ever, averaging 35 in that finals, and people were like, "Oh, Shaq won. Shaq was right. See, Shaq made Kobe and all of that." And then 2 years later, Kobe is going to 3 straight finals and winning 2 in a row with Pau Gasol. And then all of a sudden, everybody's like, "No, it was even," and Kobe was probably the better player of all time. I think that is the comparison to this situation.
Interesting. So yeah, that's more of like player. This is player coach, but that is a good comparison too, because it is a both. It is both. You can't just say like this was Brady's dynasty. It was the Patriots dynasty. I mean, the Rams game, they allowed 3 points. 3 points. You just had to have. You could have had damn near any quarterback out there. You could have had Trent Dilfer's won a Super Bowl. You could have had a lesser quarterback. Now, I'm not saying that Trent Dilfer was as good as Brady or he can do all this stuff, but the point being is he was not asked to do much in that game. They did score over 10 points, but the defense allowed 3 points. The bar for winning that game was kicking 2 field goals, getting your team within the 30-yard line twice. That is not a huge ask. And you mentioned the first few Super Bowls. I want to say the first 2 were, I mean, the defense has been loaded every time they've gone, right? But the first year specifically, that was more of the defense kind of getting them there. And yeah, like, I don't know. I just think it is a little recency bias, the whole, he did it in Tampa. It's because of him. Well, that defense was also great too. They didn't allow a touchdown to Patrick Mahomes. How many times has that happened in his career? I would say probably not too many. So yeah, I just think overall it's like you can say it was more Brady or more Belichick, but to say Belichick is just another coach, I think is asinine and just is absolutely blasphemous at the end of the day for him to say that.
Yeah, you brought up the 3 points. That Rams offense was historic in the regular season.
Yeah, they were
It's
top
one of
10
those
scoring team ever.
And that Patriots defense absolutely wiped the floor with them. And it's funny to me because I go, everybody always brings up the one Super Bowl and say Belichick messed up the Super Bowl for Brady with the 500 yards. And Brady, that was, to me, that's still the best Super Bowl he's ever played, which is shocking because the Atlanta Super Bowl was incredible. The Seattle Super Bowl was incredible. Like, he's had a lot of really great Super Bowls, but I still think the 500 yards versus the Eagles defense was the best. It's just hilarious for me because then what did Brady do when that greatest offense ever? They had every investment in that offense, struggled against the Giants. That Giants team was what, a 10-6 football team?
They were 10-6, but they were a hidden like 13-3, 14-2.
A little bit. They could rush the passer for sure, but you're talking about Randy Moss. You're talking about Randy Moss, Wes Welker, Tom Brady, an offense that was literally just destroying every defense. They were annihilating teams. And they scored 14 points in the Super Bowl. I remember Plexico Burress before the Super Bowl. He made some comment about them scoring 17 points, and Brady laughed. Like, "Oh, you think we're only going to score 17? Well, they only scored 14. So, like, why don't we ever blame Brady for that Super Bowl? The way people blame Belichick for them giving up 30 or whatever points to the Philadelphia Eagles."
Yeah, even to the point, like even the Falcons Super Bowl, like, yes, Brady did make the comeback, but you look at it from the defensive side. That defense played incredible in the second half of the game. They made some timely turnovers and timely stops. So, I mean, it just goes to show that, football is obviously more of a team game, but a lot of the narrative pushed by just general media is that, it's Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady and whoever wins is better, or it's, Lamar versus Mahomes. Oh, Mahomes has been winning, so he's certified better. No, it's the Chiefs are a better team than the Ravens. It doesn't have to be quarterback versus quarterback, but that's kind of how it gets pushed because, well, to be frank, that sells, right? That sells.
Yeah, because they sell the
Sunday Night Football, and you have the two guys standing across from each other. Like, yeah, you're going to have Mac Jones versus Tom Brady up there because that's just that sells, right?
Yeah. People were saying, I remember after the 2019 season, Jimmy G beat Drew Brees and Jimmy G beat Aaron Rodgers. Jimmy G threw the ball 8 times the second time he played Aaron Rodgers. He didn't beat Aaron Rodgers. The 49ers beat the Packers.
Yeah, I think we're saying the same thing, but yeah, I mean, it just goes to show, there's 22 guys, and the quarterback does have the most influence, but those Super Bowls aren't possible without Belichick's defenses and trotting out a top 10 defense for pretty much 2 decades in a row. So, yeah, but good question.
Agreed.
I think
Agreed. Not to mention the 2018 team, if you remember, their path to the Super Bowl wasn't like Brady dominated those playoffs. They became a power running football team. Sony Michel.
Yeah, I mean, I will say Brady did play well in those because he was getting yards. It's like he wasn't like statistically speaking, it's not like his touchdowns were off the charts, but like he was just he tore those Chargers apart. Like that game was over by half.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. The Chargers also didn't have a linebacker that was healthy, so they had to play dime defense, and they kept putting them in heavy personnel, and they had the ability to do that. Like, again, we shouldn't sound like we're diminishing the greatest player in the history of the NFL, right? Because he truly is incredible. What he's achieved, the longevity, the statistical peaks, the accolades, every single thing, his decision making, his quickness, his toughness, his accuracy, his arm strength, everything. It's just off the charts. The only thing is that to me, it's just no way all of it happens without both of them working in concert. One man can't be in the ultimate team game. One man can't be solely responsible for the greatest achievement in the history of the NFL, which is the Patriots' 20 years run.
Yeah, I agree with that. Unless you want to say, Brady's responsible for holding the Rams to 3 in the Super Bowl. I don't know. But yeah, good question, Amin. And Asante Samuel, come on, man. I don't know. Yeah, I think most people would disagree with your statements, but your opinion is your opinion.